Hey Bass Resource fans, Mike Iaconelli here. Want to talk to you about Carolina rigging, or sea rigging as we know it. I'm going to give you 3 tips to become a better Carolina rig angler. You know, the first one is the weight, and really the weight is the most important piece of the Carolina rig to me. It's really what defines the Carolina rig. And the first basic theory I want you to know about the weight is that when I'm Carolina rigging, I'm trying to catch fish. But more important than that, when I'm Carolina rigging, I'm trying to learn what's on the bottom. The Carolina rig to me is one of those baits that's a transmitter. And when I make a cast and I'm dragging it back, not only am I trying to catch a fish, but I'm trying to learn what's on the bottom. I'm trying to learn the contour of the bottom, the composition of the bottom, whether it's rock or sand or gravel. And I do that through the weight. So my first tip is to pick a weight that's tungsten. I know a lot of you guys out there love lead, you like brass or other materials, but go to a tungsten weight because a tungsten weight is going to be the best transmitter of what's on the bottom. The other tip is I like to use a weight that's going to be heavy enough to maintain bottom contact. So basically I use 3 different weight sizes of a tungsten weight. I like to use a 1/2 ounce, I like to use a 3/4, and I like to use a 1 ounce. I'm going to use the 1/2 ounce when it's calm conditions or when I'm fishing water that's 15 feet or shallower. The 3/4 ounce I'm going to use when there's a little bit of a breeze, choppy conditions, or when I'm fishing water that's 15 to 25 foot deep. And finally, the 1 ounce weight, I'm going to use that under real windy conditions or water that's 25 foot or deeper. So the first tip is use a tungsten weight and then pick a weight that's appropriate to the weather conditions and the depth you're fishing. Second tip when you're Carolina rigging is the distance of the leader. And that's important, So you've got your tungsten weight to a little bead. I like to use a plastic bead to a barrel swivel, and then you're going to use a leader. So let's talk about leader length, and let's talk about the material of the leader. So first on leader length, I use leaders that are 12 inches long all the way to about 4 foot, which seems really long, but I do use those real long leaders occasionally. And the reason that I'm going to change my leader length is primarily based on the cover and then the activity level of the fish. They're the 2 things I'm always thinking about. So the first one is the cover. I'm really always want to think about that leader length in relation to the cover. So an example of when I'd want a real long leader would be cover situations where that cover's high off the bottom. A great example of that is submergent grass. If you get a submergent grass like milfoil or eelgrass or hydrilla or cabbage, there's so many different types of grass. I'm really conscious of the level of that grass in relation to the leader. And I want to pick a leader length that lets the bait rise above the cover, lets it stay above the cover where it's visible and the fish can get to it. So I'm always thinking about cover. Another example would be gravel. You're fishing in the wintertime and you're fishing a pea gravel, small rock kind of bottom. I don't need a real long leader. The weather's cold. That's when I go to that shorter leader, 12 inches, 14 inches, 1.5 feet. So think about your cover in relation to leader length. The other second thing is activity level of the fish. And my general rule of thumb is that the more active those fish are, the longer leader I want. The less active those fish are, the colder the water, the shorter leader I want. So real cold water conditions, water temperatures 55 degrees or less, I tend to go to a shorter leader. Under warmer water conditions, now you're post-spawn, summertime pattern, water temperatures 70, 80, even 90 degrees, I go to a longer leader. So think about cover, think about activity level of the fish in picking your leader length. The last one, and definitely this isn't the least important, is rod selection, and that's real important when you're Carolina rigging because you want a rod that lets you cast with that long setup, but you also want a rod that's got backbone but a little bit of tip to get into those Carolina rig fish. And my favorite rod for Carolina rigging fish is a 7/6 medium heavy action rod. You know, a lot of guys Carolina rigging use a 7/8 or even an 8-foot flipping stick. And the problem with that rod is it's long, it lets you get a little leverage, but it's got a broomstick action. And you don't want that. You want a 7/6 rod that's got a little bit of tip to it, a medium heavy. So first of all, the length of the 7/6 rod is going to help you with the cast, but having a medium heavy action is going to give that rod a little bit of a tip. A 7/6 Abu Garcia Veritas rod, for example, has about 80% backbone, but 20% tip. And that lighter tip is going to let you load the rod to make those long casts. The other thing that little bit of tip's going to do is that when you get that bite and you reel down and you go to set the hook, you actually want a little bit of a tip to kind of act as a shock absorber to when you jam that fish and you set that fish. So the last tip is pick the right rod. Pick a long rod, pick a 7/6 rod, but don't pick a broomstick rod. Pick a rod that's got a medium heavy action. If you do those three things in your Carolina rig fishing, I guarantee when you're fishing the old sea rig, you're going to put more fish in the boat. Mike Iaconelli for Bass Resource.